Shabbat Shalom, you guys. I hope that you are doing well. We're here for our weekend reflection message, and I must say I really love our cards. I think that they have a lot of continuity with the rest of the week and the theme of Ben HaMatzarim. So I'm going to show you guys the cards. We'll listen to the audio and then we will talk more. Okay, so out of the Radiant Sun Oracle, we've got Acquisition, which is the Sun in Taurus. We've got the Moon in Pisces, Empathy. Which is funny, that reminds me, I've got to go by my sister's house and let her dog out tomorrow. Because now she only lives 5 minutes away. And so it's easy to do that now. Isn't that funny? Followed by the Moon in Aries, which is protection. Which I think remind me to talk about the South Node passing Mars. And then we have the Sun in Capricorn, which is achievement, which we had, you'll remember we had this card last week in the same position. Okay, underneath Acquisition, we have Seven of Pentacles. Underneath Empathy, we've got Five of Pentacles. Under Protection, we have the Emperor. And under Achievement, we have the same pairing. We have Three of Swords. We had this pairing last week in the last position. Isn't that interesting? All right, let's listen to the audio and then we'll be right back. Wow, the same pair of cards came up again to signify the initiative portal of Ben HaMatzarim, the 3 weeks. We're on the threshold of abundance, achievement, fulfillment, and progress. But first, we must cross this 3-week period of tests and initiations. These tests will confront us with the negativity inside of us that is holding us back. To pass these tests, we must restrict reactive behaviors and transform our consciousness in order that we may claim our cosmic sovereignty of self-possession, self-control, and free will. Ironically, in order to receive this level of inner authority, we must surrender our egoic will and carnal mind to the care of the Creator and instead be reshaped into a new creature that mirrors the image and consciousness of God, or Christ. It is then that we rise above our earthly fears, selfishness, and judgments, and are liberated, mind, body, and spirit. The specific test here is directed at our abundance. Do we seek to receive for the self alone, or do we seek to receive for the sake of sharing? We tithe 10% to represent the restriction of our material nature, the desire to receive instant gratification and to receive for the self alone. The material realm is the 10th dimension and 1/10 of manifest existence as we relate to it. What truly gives us protection is our non-attachment to the physical and our certainty in the Creator. If we hold on to that 10%, if we hold on to that 10%, meaning we don't want to give it up. If we hold on to that 10% that we're meant to tithe, then that 10% pollutes the rest of our sustenance. Focus your heart and energy on acts of mercy and sharing, giving, understanding, and kindness. Break the illusions and the selfishness of the flesh by overcoming the fear that there won't be enough. Okay, so we have acquisition here, and we have Seven of Pentacles. It's like we've been working really hard towards something, and we might have had a long-held dream or vision that we've been chipping away at for quite some time. And we may be anxious to see the fruits of our labor. However, there's a couple of final initiations left before we can attain that full fulfillment, so that we get the most out of our growth before, maybe a period of achievement. And so it's like, in order to really sustain the light, we have to earn the light. And when we don't earn light, and we get things prematurely, it creates a phenomenon called bread of shame, which creates chaos and a need for a process that we don't want to go through. So the Creator in his goodness is holding our blessings so that we can get past any kind of impulsive nature that might undermine all of our work and our efforts. So part of this initiation is going on right this minute as we speak. We've got our cards again here, the achievement card crowning over the Three of Swords. And it's like two layers, right? It's talking about this period of the 3 weeks that happens once a year that straddles the end of Cancer season and like the first 2/3 of Leo season. And it's called Ben HaMatzarim, and it means the 3 weeks. And during this 3 weeks, the energy of the Creator is like the most bright and intense and hot, just like it is in the summer right now. My hair is like partially dry. It's wet. I had to take a shower before I did this video because I'd been out in the sun all day sweating, and then I watered the garden, and the garden is just downright hostile right now with the size and intensity of the mosquitoes, and I think I was eaten up by a fire ant. So I was like, oh, so itchy, it's sticky, I've got to take a shower. So so the heat and the fire, we're exposed to this most radiant quality of the Creator's light during these 3 weeks, which then puts pressure on our soul to up level in order to have the capacity to manage that voltage, so to speak. So in order to do that, we have to build the vessel. We have to go through challenges in order to up level our consciousness and raise our vibration. And so when we pass these tests, then that opens us up for miracles and healing to happen. Literally today, my mom, I was talking to her on the phone, and I've, mentioned her vaguely to you guys before about maybe some of the health struggles that she has. And she was saying that this past week at church, they just had a moment where they decided to have people pray for one another. And this guy that's her crush was on the bench next to her. And they were like, whoever's on the pew next to you, just pray for that person. And so he prayed for her, and she said she felt like an anointing come over her, like a feeling that pulsed through. And she said she almost fell out. And she said, this is so funny. She goes, and I mean, I was in the 70s when you would go to these revivals and they would try to push you down to make it look like you fell out in the spirit, but I would never fall out because I wasn't going to be pushed down. But I tell you, I really felt it this time. And so then she had this issue that was causing her nerves to do this thing where it would cause a lot of dizziness and weakness throughout the day. And so she was having a lot of issues just enjoying life as much anymore. And so I've been praying for her, and she didn't even know about Ben HaMatzarim, but she's telling me that this healing happened. She said, I felt this thing that come over me, and then all week long I have felt so much energy, and I've been able to do twice as much as I would have before, and everything, every day I've just felt good. And so I was so excited, and I told her, I was like, did you know? Because after that, she said, and I've had all these realizations this week and really big revelations. She was telling me about them, and it was big deal things for my mom to realize about herself. So exciting. And I told her about Ben Hamatzarim and what's going on right now. And so I don't know, she thought it was interesting, but I don't know how much she took it in because, she's excited about just feeling better and everything, but so excited. So this is an example of what we're talking about here, that what's standing in the way. And she literally named like her negativity and things that were standing in the way of her like full fulfillment. Like literally the things that we've been working on. So our achievements, right, are hanging, right? They're right there. We're so close, but it's like going through a gauntlet. When a knight has to go through the gauntlet in order to like get the maiden or whatever, so too are we. In these 3 weeks, we've got the 3 of Swords, 1, 2, 3, 3 challenging weeks. It might be 3 individual challenges that come to you, or it might just be 3 weeks of a myriad of challenges that rain down upon you. Who knows? So it could be all kinds of fun surprises. So when these tests come up and you're able to transform, or when you have moments where you can have revelatory insight and make a change and shift your consciousness, it's like, boom, you finally got the lesson. The cycle is complete. Now you can get the healing, right? And I feel like so many of our lessons over the last several weeks have been kind of like priming us to have this like moment happen during this time. So I think that's really cool. And I will say my mom does not watch these videos, so she didn't know anything about it. It's just like she aligned with the time that we're in right now. So imagine, if you're using this time with intention and consciousness, and you're aware of it, like how much is possible, right? So I know we go through, periods of time where, nothing major happens and it's hard to, I don't know, you think, is there ever going to be a big change again? Or am I just going to like ride it out until the end? You know what I mean? But change can happen anytime, right? So we are on the verge of acquiring, things that are near and dear to our soul and our purpose and our heart, right? And we just need to be a little bit more patient with the seeds that we've planted. And in the meantime, not to be impulsive about our relationship with finances, but to be really grounded and wise about that. And also the key here is so we have the 5 of Pentacles sitting next to the 7 of Pentacles. So our hint into our initiatory challenge this week is to overcome our nature to want to hold on to our sustenance, but for fear that there won't be enough, or it won't come back, or it will be taken. So it's so funny because the Daily Zohar today was literally teaching about tithing and why we give the 10% that we do. And it's talking about how, I'll get into more detail about that in a few minutes, but just going with the theme now of it's important that we resist the urge to be fearful and let that fear, that animal nature of dog eat dog world. I've got to, take care of myself, no matter what, come what may, and nobody else is going to watch out. That whole carnal, I've got to survive attitude. It causes us to be fearful when it comes time to share and to give and to be generous. And so when we are fearful of that and we hold on to that 10% that we're supposed to give, that 10% that we hold back and we hold on to out of fear ends up polluting the rest of our abundance and the rest of our sustenance. So see this like the 7 of Pentacles girl here. She almost looks like she wants all her money to go shopping, and she's looking at this person over here that's struggling and in need, and is having, financial difficulty, maybe even health problems. Think about all the problems in the world right now, from Gaza to children, immigrant children having to represent themselves in court without counsel, right? There's so many causes that we need to be giving to. Even just like the people that just kind of show up in the grocery store in desperation asking for money. Like I even put some cash in my wallet just so that I didn't get caught off guard anymore when someone like that approached me. Because sometimes, yeah, it's people running a scam, but sometimes people are just really desperate and they're really trying, especially when, it's an immigrant person who doesn't speak English and already is probably from a war-torn situation. It's just like, I just want to have some cash or my money to give them. So, overcoming that defensiveness, I've talked about that before, where like if I'm approached and I get defensive and I'm not prepared, then I don't handle the situation the way I want to, and I get like all no, like this chick here, and when instead I should be having empathy, right, and show caring and do an act of kindness. And it is our acts of kindness and sharing that actually end up protecting us and providing for us in the long run. So when we hold back that 10% out of fear, it contaminates the rest of our sustenance. Remember this week when I was talking about how the Creator convicted me over the fact that I had dragged my feet about tithing. I didn't even know that this portion was coming up in the Zohar today, right? So that 10%, it's so important that we give it, because that is the means by which we pay forward what the Creator has done for us, and we are a channel of light for others on behalf of the Creator. And so when we're entrusted with sustenance and we know that the Creator knows we'll share it, then we're vessels that can contain more and share more, right? So our acts of sharing and our acts of mercy and our acts of empathy and our acts of good eye, like thinking the best about people, looking at people without judgment, but looking at them with compassion and kindness, that's going to actually open the door for miracles and healing to come through, and abundance as well this week. Remember, these are things that we've been talking about. So it's really just like underscoring all the themes that we've already been working on all week, which I love when the cards do that. And so protection and the Emperor. So the protection that we are really getting right now is coming from our trust in the Creator and really strengthening that connection to the Creator so that our channel to source is open. Right? And we want that connection strong. Think of an umbilical cord. We don't want that broken or severed, right? And so it's our consciousness and our actions and our deeds that are like the Creator, that are like Jesus, that are like the Christ consciousness, that keep us connected with the Creator. But when we get fearful, impatient, selfish, wanting to keep for the self alone, wanting to receive for the self alone, or doing evil eye or evil tongue or judging people or criticizing, it's like then we cut ourselves off from the Creator, right? And then we lose that control and that sovereignty. So we are learning how to practice that groundedness and that awareness and that presence so that we maintain that self-possession, that emotional sobriety, that conscious sovereignty, where we can pause, and instead of becoming reactive and affected by the circumstances, we're detached enough to observe and then respond proactively by choice, by free will. And that's what God would have us conduct ourselves like. That is using our free will. That is being a divine human being. Right? That's what cosmic sovereignty is. It's having ownership over oneself and that full connection, that direct connection with God that gives you that inner authority. And you're not jerked around by other people or outer circumstances. You hold your own authority. So another thing that's protecting us right now and providing gateways of abundance to come through is through our correcting our tikkun and our healing. Now, the north node, or the south node of the moon is connected or conjunct to Mars right now. So with that, we are really going after like the things that were like the South Node is about releasing and letting go. So as it pertains to Mars, it's like we're letting go of the way that our bad habits were holding us back or sabotaging ourselves. Things that aren't good for us, things that aren't pushing the needle forward, or ways we've been overly impulsive, right? And not been wise. We've been affect consciousness and then impulsive and reactive rather than being able to be mature and grounded, right? So learning how to release a lot of those things, learning how to release, like Aries is the first house. It's about like personal identity and ego and the child within. And it's the baby of the zodiac. So during these 3 weeks, it's our ego that's being challenged. So our old consciousness, we're wanting to shed that and sacrifice it in order to let the old self die away so that a new higher self can be resurrected. So it's all very, very exciting. So y'all stick with it. I feel really confident for all of us and hopeful and optimistic. And I think that is all that we had to talk about tonight. So tomorrow is Saturday. We will be back together for our Secret Teachings of Jesus sermon. So stay tuned. It usually gets posted. I'm Central Time, and I usually record those around midnight and then edit them and post them. So they usually hit around 1 or 2 a.m. Central Time. So I know there's some night owls out there that are always up around that time and watch. So see you then. Peace.